Hey guys, welcome back to Some Crypto. In today's content now, we'll talk about BTC. We'll take a look at Bitcoin on a higher time frame. We'll take a look at it on a weekly, monthly, 3 weeks, and all that good stuff. And what type of price action we could be getting over the next like a couple of couple of months and all that good stuff. Are we gonna get a big sell-off in September? So we'll take a look at the chart, right? So now when we take a look at BTC on a weekly basis, right? As we said a couple of weeks ago, I think like last week we talked about like a BTC pulling back up to the weekly 21/3D 21 EMA and all that good stuff. So we did retest the weekly 21. Bears showed up at the 28K area, even though we do have a similar structure like we had right here at the top, the 69K area, right? 63 and 69 is pretty much similar to the 30K and 32K area. Okay, so we did create a double top, double bottom right here. So we're creating also another double top, double bottom right here. The only difference is like on this, on our current structure right here, BTC is not creating what a shorter term sideways correction right there, okay, like we had around like a February, March, April 2022. So in this range, it just pulled back up to the weekly 21 EMA, and now it is reversing back down to the mid to low 25K. As of now, it is at 25,750, just about like a 0.78% down on the on a daily basis, right? So we'll see how it goes. Okay, so the main thing to watch right over the next like a few weeks is going to be primarily the weekly 21 EMA, right, as far as resistance. And on the lower degree, right, the main thing to watch, it is going to be the 50% pullback down to a 0.618 pullback. Okay, the 50% pullback going to be at 22, and the 0.618 going to be at 20K area. Are we going to get there in September? It is going to be hard to tell, because BTC, right, if we take a look at it on the macro level, it does tend to basically either use the weekly 21 EMA as resistance, right, in September. Okay, if we go back and back test it since like September 2017 at least, right, either it uses the weekly 21 EMA as support or as resistance, right? So what does it mean? If we go back to 2017 right here, I remember exactly vividly what happened back in 2017 with the China FUD, right? We did drop from like a 4,300 all the way down to like a 3,000 area. To be exact, I think like a 20, let's be exact for Leroy, 29.95, okay, on Kraken, right? So we tested the weekly 21 EMA. If we fast forward, right, September 2018, we dropped from the weekly 21. We used the weekly 21 as resistance right there. Right there, we used it as support, right? So you can see clearly the difference between when we in a bull market and when we are in a correction. You could call it like a bear market back in 2018 also, okay? So if we fast forward once again in 2019, we used the weekly 21 EMA, right, as temporary support, but basically dump below it. That was the big dump we had like back in September 23rd. We dumped like nearly 23% in 1 week, right? So if we fast forward once again, September 2020, we did drop, okay, just about like a 12%, right? Started like August 31st, the week of August 31st, right, to the September 6th, we dropped nearly 12%. But we used the weekly 21 EMA as a support, because we were getting ready to a start of the macro bull run. And that's when I said exactly if we break out above the 10.5 by October 20th, right, 2020, we're going to get zero resistance, and we could be pushing all the way up to 44K. And you can see what happened. BTC used the weekly 21 EMA and pushed all the way up to nearly 70K, okay, in 2021 and all that good stuff, right? So now if we take a look at it right here again in 2021, we use what? The weekly 21 EMA as support right there. I remember vividly, once again, the first week of September 2021, we dumped nearly from like a 52K all the way down to like a 42. We dropped 10,000 points in less than 1 week, but we used the weekly 21 slash the 3D 21 EMA right here as support, and then later on we flipped bullish back when BTC was above 48K. We said, okay, the 2D MACD, 3D MACD, all of them will, let's take a look at right here, the 3D MACD, 2D MACD, they were flipping bullish, right? And we flipped bullish back then and basically stay with the trend all the way up to a 69K and all that good stuff, right? So if we go back to the weekly basis, that was our 2020 year, 2020, 2021. How about 2022, right? Most of you guys remember what happened back in 2022 after the Jackson Hole meeting, right? BTC dropped right there, just about like 11%, right? So now it is 2023. What type of price action are we going to get? We just use our weekly 21 EMA as resistance in late August, early September. Are we going to be retesting the weekly 21 before dropping, or is it just going to basically drip all the way down to the 50% to 0.618 within the next like a few weeks or even like a few months? It is not guaranteed, okay? September will be a big, a big dump, but generally, okay, when we use the weekly 21 EMA prior to September, going into September and all that good stuff, we tend to basically see a pullback down to a support. But since like we in a correction phase, we cannot use the weekly 21 as a support, right? So we'll just have to follow the macro view. And if we take a look at BTC on a macro basis, what we've been saying, on a macro basis is like the quarterly 21 EMA most likely going to be a big support. Are we going to close this quarter below the quarterly 21? I do not think BTC will close the quarterly time frame, right? Even though September is looking bearish, right? And the quarterly 21 EMA, as of now, it is just about like a 23K if you use if you're using let's say Bybit, okay, 22,827 to be exact for Leroy, right? You can see right here the big dump we had the second quarter of 2022. We got support at the quarterly 21. Yes, I know you guys are gonna be like, okay, we closed below it. However, we did not substantially dump below the quarterly 21. We kept retesting the quarterly 21 EMA right here, back in Q3 and Q4. We both retested the quarterly 21. So now we got the breakout above it. Could we retest it? Yes. Could it leave a big wick below it? Absolutely. It could do anything. But what I do not expect in the short to medium term, within the next like 3 to 4 weeks, even though September could potentially be a bearish month. However, if we take a look at it on a quarterly basis, the quarterly time frame is not saying like, we're going to be dropping all the way down to these lows and all that good stuff, right? So something to bear in mind over the next like a few weeks, right? Or even like a few months. So the macro support on the quarterly basis is going to remain the quarterly 21 EMA, regardless of how deep we drop below it. The quarterly 21 going to be a reference point going into 2024. Even if we dump below it, the quarterly 21 going to be our reference point for the next like few quarters before the before the halving and all that good stuff, okay? Because the halving going to be in Q2 2024, as we said last August, okay, August 2022, when BTC was dropping. What we said, I was saying exactly, I'm bearish in this range from August till basically November, December. We're going to be bearish. However, we are not bearish because we're looking for 10K. We're only bearish because we're looking for a retest of the support, right, before going back up to the monthly 21 EMA in Q1, Q2 2023. And where are we getting our current rejection at? Okay, we're getting our rejection from the monthly 21 EMA, right? As you can see, most alt could not break above the monthly 21 EMA. Very few alt broke out above the monthly 21 EMA. Let's take a look at Matic really quickly. If you take a look at Matic managed to basically stay above its monthly 21 EMA for like a couple of months. In January, we broke out above the monthly 21 EMA, right? and later on, in February, got a big wick to the upside, right? Could not stay above the weekly, monthly 200 EMA. Let's take a look at Ethereum, right? So you take a look at Ether. Ether got few closes above the monthly 21 in April 2023. We closed above it, till basically June, right, and all that good stuff. So you can see later on, got the big rejection from the monthly 21 EMA, and now it is dripping back down to the quarterly 21. So the green line you're seeing right here, it is our quarterly 21 EMA for Ether. So as of now, it is at 1350. However, we just have to basically, think about like the entire range, all the way down to like $1,000 and all that good stuff, right? So something to keep in mind going forward and all that good stuff, right? So now let's go back to BTC. So if you go back to a BTC on Kraken, right? The funny thing is like some of these exchanges, they're getting like a different, different moving averages, right? Let's say our monthly 100 EMA on Kraken, as of now, it is at 15.441 for Leroy, okay? However, if we take a look at it on, let's take a look at it on, let's say Bitstamp, right? If we take a look at it on Bitstamp, our our monthly 100 EMA, as of now, it is somewhere around like 18.3. And if you recall, guys, when BTC hit the monthly 100 EMA back in November, what we said was like we completed our 12-month cycle, and we were expecting BTC to retest the monthly 100 EMA, just like the S&P 500 retested its monthly 100 EMA. Let's go ahead and take a look at the SPX. So the SPX right here, back in the COVID crash, we retested the monthly 100 EMA and basically bounced right back up and created some new all-time highs and all that good stuff, right? So if you go back to BTC, we retested our monthly 100 EMA back in November, right? And if we take a look at it on Kraken, right, the monthly 100 EMA, it is at 15.5. I'm not expecting BTC to break below the 15.5 area. The probability is very low. As we said, the quarterly time frame going to be the primary resistance, right? Primary support after the weekly 211 EMA and monthly 211 EMA are basically serving as a big resistance for the last few weeks or even like a few months. So we're going to use primarily the quarterly 211 EMA as the primary support. If we dump below it, could we go back and retest the yearly, the yearly open right around like a 15.5, 16K area? It is possible, okay? But the probability as of now, as long as we're staying above the quarterly 21, the probability of retesting the yearly low is not very high. Because one thing to keep in mind, if you go back and take a look at also BTC in terms of like a total two, is like the total two back in 2020, right? After the COVID dump, you can see like the total two dump all the way down to the yearly, nearly like the yearly low, right? However, BTC did not retest the yearly, yearly low back in 2020, right? The 2018 yearly low, right? So you can see right here, we dump all the way down to nearly 100 billion. Okay, as of now, we 10x above the COVID lows, right? But most people are expecting BTC to retest like these lows, or like the total two to retest like these lows. So I don't think total two will at any given time retest like 100 billion. As of now, we're at 1 trillion. Okay, so if you go back to BTC USD on Bitstamp, for instance, right, we can see in 2020 we dumped all the way down here, but we never retested the lows right there. Okay, we just retested our quarterly 21. That's our green line right here, just like what we're doing right there. So this could potentially be similar, where if we get any wick to the downside, right, it could come down to just about these lows, right, but not breaking it. Okay, and not breaking it, right? Another thing to keep in mind, a very important thing to keep in mind is like, even though we got a big dump back in 2020, it doesn't mean like we're going to get a big dump just like that. right? So, and the dump we got right here was only for a 1 week. Even though most bears, okay, like the 10K bear is still waiting for 10K, you can see this dump was only for 1 week, for only 1 week. And if you've been, if you've been bearish, okay, for BTC over the last few years and all that good stuff, you just have to be very, very cautious and not being like extremely bearish, right, on our wave 2 correction. Okay, our wave 2 correction right here, we don't know how deep it'll go once again. But if you're extremely bearish, right, if we get that big dump, you might be looking for lower prices. You could be looking for lower prices, right? And we might never get down to these lows, right? Like the 10K bear is waiting for and all that good stuff, right? So that's all I wanted to cover for BTC and all that good stuff. So we'll see how how September will go, right? In terms of fibs, once again, we already discussed it, 20K to 22K down to 20K, going to be the fib support, 50% to a 0.618. We got our quarterly 21, just about like a 22.7 to a 23K area. So that's going to be the macro support, not for the 1 second chart, up to the 15-second chart, guys, and all that good stuff, right? All right, guys, thanks a lot for watching.